Taylor Lumens has gotten a little bit scary with quite a precarious downside setup in place. However, it's not the only crypto doing so. We're seeing the exact same setup across the entire crypto space, including the big OG coins, Bitcoin and Ethereum, as well as various altcoins that I've been covering on my channel. That does not mean that I'm certain that I've suddenly converted to a bear. I still am looking at our primary bullish pattern as being intact, and I still expect to see some upside. However, if I see a setup, I can't deny it, and I must acknowledge that it's present. So when we look at this thing up close, we have what we're calling three waves up. And when we have our three waves up, it could either be considered an ABC up, as in red, that would be the bearish outlook, the bearish perspective, or we could look at it as three waves up in the orange-yellow notation. The orange-yellow is the primary, and this corresponds to the blue and green that we're going to see on the big picture in just a moment. And while the proportions are very unstandard, non-standard, when you look at this as a 1-2, we've gone far beyond where a third wave should go, but it doesn't really break any Elliott wave rules, and it doesn't really give us any clue whether this is an ABC up or three waves up out of a five that's going to go up. The latest development has been that we have broken so far lower, so low in our fourth wave that this can no longer be classified as an impulsive setup. So not the most bullish sign. However, that means that if we can turn around quickly and rally beyond our previous high at 24 cents, that would give us 5 up in the form of a leading diagonal. Now leading diagonals are a little bit precarious because they often look just like ABCs up. So imagine our fifth wave ends up somewhere up here. We could actually consider this entire rally as an A wave, this pullback as a B wave, and that could be a bigger C wave for an even bigger bounce in this fourth wave of our bigger correction. However, until that happens, I'm not too worried about that. Right now, if we can get our 5 up, that would be a good sign. It would also align very well with the equity space, with the Dow and the S&P 500 and even the Russell 2000, in which we have 3 up and a very deep fourth wave. And we're looking to have an ending diagonal setup in place, or I'm sorry, a leading diagonal. Shifting to the big picture, our rally so far in XLM doesn't look as impressive as it has in some other coins, namely Ethereum Classic, although we've had quite some upside action, some of the other altcoins that I track, but a rally is better than no rally at all. And when we look at our MACD perspective again, we still have our divergence. There's still no sign of an immediate breakdown. So we have a lot of bottoming signs. We hit a significant Fibonacci level when we pulled back, and that support at 16.1 cents is still valid. It still holds. Now, if we do end up having our red pattern follow through, I'm expecting a bounce first. This would be a second wave bounce into this blue box, somewhere between 21, 22 cents. So if you're looking to unload anything, if you're more of a conservative investor, that may give you an opportunity to exit before we have more follow through. I would expect us to follow some kind of an impulsive or diagonal pullback. If we do, again, follow the red pattern, it would not be official until we break the support at, again, 16 cents. And until we get through this green line at 24 cents overhead, this red pattern will remain on the table. If we do break through the green line, the red pattern will invalidate immediately. That doesn't mean that we still won't have another bearish pattern potentially in the cards, but it would immediately invalidate this 1-2 downside setup. In our second wave up, if we see an ABC pattern like what we already have at the moment, if we can't manage to keep rallying, that could be an ominous sign that we are going to follow through with downside. Our third wave could get us somewhere between 14 and 13 cents with an ultimate bottom somewhere between 12 and 10 cents. So that is a long way down from here. It could be a 50% crash. So it may be advantageous for you, depending on your own strategy and your risk tolerance, to possibly unload some positions. I know I'll be considering it if we don't break through that green line. So of course, I spent a bit more time on the short-term chart because it's got a little bit more, it has more features, a few more landmarks to give us more guidance. Big picture, nothing has changed in our past few updates. I did mention that I have 2 bullish patterns in place, or potential bullish patterns. One calls for a diagonal kind of rally, which would be very choppy with ABCs up, ABCs down all the way. And they don't typically project as high as an impulsive pattern would. That impulsive alternate pattern would be green. And right now, we're a long way from being able to distinguish which pattern we're following. If we did see a very powerful rally that goes right through this box, that could be an initial indication that we are following the green pattern. But until then, again, our line in the sand is 16.1 cents. We have a lot of signs that we are done bottoming at the moment. So we're looking for more of a rally. Now, this box overhead between 60 cents and $1.35 is my ideal target for either the first wave of green or the A wave of blue, the blue pattern, you wouldn't really notice much of a difference with either pattern. And there's a chance it's a fake out bounce and we have further downside to go. I don't expect that. I don't see anything like that set up in any of the other altcoins either. I can't imagine this being a big expanded flat just to fake us out, but you never know. It could be. But in the meantime, again, until we break 16.1 cents, primary is blue. The other thing I would like to note is that if we are following blue, our upside patterns are going to follow zigzags. So they may look very choppy. They might whipsaw you to death. So be prepared for that. You might lose your lunch trying to get up this roller coaster, but that is the nature of diagonals. Once we pull back in this B wave or second wave, I would expect a very strong impulsive move up into this box. It would be impulsive because, again, in either scenario, whether it's the third of a third or a C wave, we would expect to see a 5-wave move into this box. And that would be a good opportunity to potentially take some profit because you never know what's coming up next. So it could look something like this, maybe a nice 4th wave and a 5th wave into that box. And depending on which pattern we follow, we could fall from $8 to $1.20, something like that, because, well, you expect a very deep wave, a deep 4th wave in a diagonal. But at any rate, even in an impulsive situation, it may be prudent to take some profits. So that's where we're looking. We haven't had anything change in the big picture, but our lines in the sand are very clear. I have clear parameters for what to look for. Again, follow your own strategy. You may be looking for another buying opportunity. So you might get that, you might not. Might not be too late to chase this behind. Once we break the green line, I would expect us to see a pretty deep pullback for a second wave before we really start launching for reals. So subscribe so you don't miss any of my updates. I'll be putting up community posts here and there in case I have updates that I need to make quickly. Videos do take a bit longer to put out there. And if you enjoyed my video, don't forget to give me a like. Till next time, thank you for watching and happy trading.